think that's about it. So let's get going. Hi, everybody. I am Jess, founder at Mavic. And again, this is the very first time we're doing a YouTube live. So it's really good to see you here. Um, in the next 30 minutes, we are going to share a little bit about our vision for branding, why we think branding is important. We are going to share a little bit about our product. But most importantly, I would like to share a little bit more about why, when we combine our human creativity and insight with Gen AI, we can create magic in today. So let's get into it. So, a little bit about myself. I am Jess. I am, yes, the founder of Mavic. But before that, I used to work in a Fortune 100 company looking after innovation, creativity. I was a CMO. And then before that, I was working in an agency. So, I've been a marketer my entire life. And to be honest, I still love marketing. And that's why we are here building Mavic. So, what is Mavic? Well, I hope you've already signed up because there is a free version of Mavic. But in a nutshell, Mavic is a AI brand marketer that automates marketing strategy and execution for brands, any level of brands, whether you're a small startup brand or you're a multinational brand. How does Mavic work? It starts with data and analytics. So, the very first step in Mavic is to create a brand workspace, and that's where you can give us your website URL, or you can answer a few simple questions about your brand and put that into Mavic. Mavic will take all that data, pull together a brand strategy, and if you have products or services, you can upload into Mavic as well. And Mavic will use all the information you provide as context for marketing. Once we have the strategy, we will go ahead and create content. So Mavic can create text content for social posts. It can create images, AI images with few different AI large language models, and it can also create either videos from either text prompts or image references. And then from there, the content can be scheduled onto social media channels. So we are integrated to 7 different social media channels, from Facebook, Instagram to TikTok, X Blue Skies. And from besides scheduling and publishing, we will also learn from real-time performance data and bring that back into our database, like a virtuous optimization loop. So that's what Mavic is designed to do. So what can you expect in the next, 25 minutes today? So firstly, you sign up for branding with AI. So we will start with going through some brand basics, like what is branding and why does it even matter? From there, we will go through some simple exercises on how you can create your very own brand story. What is the design process like? And finally, we will go through some of the live demo on Mavic. So you can see how, using AI and some simple frameworks that we have, we can start creating your very own brand that can find success in today's industry, today's world. So before we go into some brand basics, let's try to play a game, and let's guess what brand is this. So I'm going to give you like 30 seconds. Take a moment, think to yourself, can you guess what brand this is? And you can leave your comments if you can guess what brand it is. Yeah, this is actually Coke. So how do we know it's Coke? You can see it by the very iconic bottle cap, and you can see the shape of the hands in that iconic glass bottle that everyone knows. Yeah. Uh, I think Nokia is definitely not the answer, but very good attempt by Nian Bin. Now let's try again. Here's another brand. Can you guess what it is? Come on, this is like super easy. Yeah, yeah, this is a better try. So, yeah, this is McDonald's. How do we know that? Because of the iconic M with the iconic yellow color. So that's why a very strong brand is powerful, because without a logo, you can actually recognize this brand, and also without them having to say anything else. When you start thinking about the brand, you can start also thinking about associations. For example, if I think about Coke, I start thinking about that fizzy sound of the Coke. And when I think about McDonald's, I think about something that's very um, nostalgic. Like I think of the McDonald's breakfast where I would go with my family in the on Sunday mornings. So that's the power of a strong brand. So I also have this very short video on what is the power of strong brands. So this is by Heinz AI Ketchup. They ran an AI campaign. I hope you can hear the sound, but if you don't, please let me know. Yeah, so again, this is the impact of a very powerful brand. So if you have, and I guess that's why you are also joining this YouTube live stream today, to be able to create a brand that people can recognize and people can remix with, you actually need to start somewhere, and that's actually why branding is so important. So now but every brand has to start somewhere, right? So if you think about your own life in the last 24 hours, can you think of how many brands have competed for your attention? So think about how many brands you remember seeing an ad of on social or even offline. And most of the times, you may not, most people I've asked can't even think of any brand, and they definitely can't remember any ad. And that's because today, we are constantly fighting an avalanche of content for attention. The recent surveys for from digital marketing, like eMarketer, shows that average time spent per day with total media by US adults are actually increasing. So all of us are spending more and more time online. And we are actually moving away from traditional media to online media, which means that all of us are spending a lot of time on social media where things are moving really, really fast. And so it's very hard to drive brand recall. And I think that's the differentiator between branding and marketing, because everyone says AI can help marketing. Yes, it's true. Marketing can drive exposure. Marketing allows you to create content that can go onto social media or go into an email really, really quickly. But branding can drive recall, because every single interaction between you and your potential customer is an opportunity for you to leave a little message behind. And that recall is the differentiator between why customers will choose you when they are ready to buy. So that's the fundamentals of branding. And that's why branding needs to be very constant, consistent, and we need to make sure the frequency, like you, when you're saying, bringing your brand message to to your customers, you actually be very consistent like that. So, what makes a good brand, right? If I, off the top of my head, most people they will say logos and colors or specific like key visuals. But a brand is so much more than that. A brand is really how people remember you and what you make people feel. So at Mavic, we have this little infographic to show you how we think of what we think makes a construct of a brand. And it starts with the brand DNA. The brand DNA is, imagine that's the core and the heart of the brand. It is your values, is your identity, is your purpose, is your reason to exist. And that is at the core of everything when you're designing a brand. Then imagine from the core, from the brand DNA, we start to build the brand mind. So the brand mind is like the intellectual part. What are the emotional and functional benefits that you're able to deliver to people? Emotional benefits are if someone spends time with you, what can you make them feel? And functional benefits are when your customers spend time with you, what are material gains that they can get within that 5 minutes or whatever amount of time they spend with you. The brand mind also has the personality in there, the point of view. What's your output to the world? What is the value exchange that you are giving to your customers? And then we go into the brand expression. So brand expression is the fun part, I think, because everyone recognize that. The brand expression is your logo. How does it look? The tone of voice. How do you sound? Are you someone very playful or someone very serious? The brand colors. What makes your brand? When someone look at your brand, what are the colors? What are the association? What's the psychology behind that? And then we have the brand action, which is the actual products and services that you deliver. Or if you are an experiential brand, like maybe you're a hair salon, what does the experience look like? What are the touch points between you physically and the potential customers? And finally, the brand experience, which is as your brand continues to exist, what do you do that builds up your reputation? What is the memory of your customer about your brand? And that's your brand memory. So all of these over time actually creates a good brand. And for example, if we look at Coca-Cola, right, following the same framework, how do they express their brand? The DNA is all about happiness and connection. The brand mind is about how you always want to share a Coke because life is better when you share it. The expression is the iconic red. The logo is very like they are very strict with the use of the logo. That swirl with the Coke, um, the Coke itself, the cola. And also for me, when I think about Coke, I also hear that iconic fizz when you open a can of Coke. And finally, the brand experience, right? If you think about Coca-Cola over time, how they built Santa or the polar bear during Christmas, how do they build all these experience to actually generate their brand? So um, remember that all of us have to start somewhere, and branding is always a process, right? You can never create a brand by just creating a brand mood board and the logo and go, yeah, that is my brand. Brand is accumulation of all these experiences over time, and a good brand actually goes through everything that we just spoke about. But branding, beyond being a process, is actually very data driven, because branding is how you position yourself in the world. And to create a good brand, we really, or I personally would recommend something called systematic experimentation. So using brand and taking good decisions using real research to decide how you want your brand to be. And that's actually just 3 steps. And Maverick is designed to help you with that. So we will get to that. So the first one, when you want to start designing your brand, you really need to know your customers. You need to know who you're building for, their jobs, their frustrations, their day in the life, their motivations. I mean, if you're a brand that wants to design for someone who is like maybe above 65 years old and retiring versus designing a brand for someone who is below, like a young adult below 18, the brand visual will definitely be very different because what relates to them are very different. So knowing your customers is the first step. Then you have to know your market because no one lives alone in the world, right? So knowing the market means knowing what already exists, knowing the world that your customers live in. So who are your competitors? What are the category norms? What's in pop culture? What are current trends? So that's also really important. And when you know these two things really well, then you can decide on your brand, decide how you want to show up as a brand. And that would be answering the question of why should someone choose you in this market, right? So, and the best positioning is something that's relevant to the customers and their passions and their motivations, but distinct enough from competitors so that you don't just sound like someone else and maybe accidentally end up marketing another your competitor's brand. So how do you know you've picked the right brand? Well, so if you look at this little Venn diagram here, you need to know what customers want, and then look at the overlap of that with what competition has to give, and then what you have to offer. And your sweet spot will be that intersection between what customers want, what you know you have to offer, and what competitors will not be able to claim. And if you can find this little intersection, then you have a very good chance that you're going to create a brand that's unique. You can talk about it consistently, and people will get to know you about. So now let's go into how do we do this with AI. Well, so we have designed Mavic to be able to help you find your customers, your competition, and also your positioning. So with this, I'm going to switch very quickly into the Mavic app. So this is a view of what Mavic looks like. So very similar to Chat GPT or chat apps, we do have a chat interface. But unlike general chat apps, we have a lot more features than that. We have something called workflows. So workflows are form-based designs that help guide anyone in being able to create the output that they're looking for. So let me show you how with Mavic you can you can find your customer profile. So once you create an account with Mavic and you go into this chat, you can click on workflow, and you have some of these options on how you can design your customer profile. The first one is using data like surveys or studies, and then uploading into Mavic and then generating a customer profile. Or you can just answer some simple questions for either building a B2B customer profile, meaning your customers are businesses, or B2C customer profiles, meaning your customers are people, like they're not business enterprise. So when you click on any of the workflows, you will actually see forms like this. Sorry, I think there is some error. Let me try this. I hope you can see the screen now. Yes, okay, great. So, okay, sorry, just realized you guys didn't see the Mavic screen, but here it is again. So, in Mavic, again, very quickly, we have the workflows, which you can initiate from the chat. So, if you log into Mavic, you have the chat, you can click on workflows here. These workflows are designed by marketeers like myself, and it has guided questions, which when you answer, you will get to an output that you're looking for. So, for example, building a customer profile, you can simply select the age groups for who your customers potentially should be. So, for example, 18 to 24. You can provide the location of the customer. I'll put Singapore. The life stages, maybe they are like a young professional. And here you can put in any insights. So this is very important because as someone who is living in the world and interacting with customers regularly, you have access to so much valuable insights when your customers calls and then when they ask a question, when they give you feedback. So all that information is a gold mine of data that you do need to spend time to put it into this form in order to get an output that's going to be useful to you. So and then you have to answer questions like what kind of benefits your customers are looking for. So, for example, in the case of Mavic, I would say customers are looking for a quick start. Pain points could be lack of time, lack of resources. Emotional drivers could be like lack of time, fear of missing out, role in the buying process. Um, then you can answer things like triggers for what would make someone buy, and even put in their preferred communication channels. So all of these questions also come with a brief drop down, so you can just choose. And once you fill up the form, you will see you will have a prompt that's tested by marketers, and you can send it into Mavic, and then Mavic can answer. So, this is a very easy way to get started with thinking about your customer profiles. How do you go through the workflows or chat and then create customer, and then and Mavic can help give you a view of who your customers are. And again, because Mavic is designed for marketing, so each customer profile will be shown to you in such a format where it's well formatted. It tells you who they are, it tells you the gender, it gives you the interest. And if you agree with this, you can actually add it to brand. And when you add a customer profile to brand, it means that you're telling Mavic, yes, this is my customer profile, and I would like you to remember it. So the next thing that we also need to do to know your market would be competitors. So again, coming into Mavic, in Mavic, you have the option under Analyze to set up your competitors. So once you add competitors, which is just adding a website, giving it a name, Mavic will start to track the web performance of the competitors and give you a view of how they are performing over time. So again, this helps you easily know whether your competition is going up or not, and and it also helps you look at their social channels and also look at the competitors' brand positioning. Because once you add a competitor and you click into it, um, sorry, let me just go back. Mavic is able to go into the website and do a very quick high level analysis of who the competitor is, what are their brand benefits, products and services they offer, etc. So that's very quickly on competitors. So, and now when you know your customer profiles and you know who your competitors are, you can use this prompt to be able to help you find your brand positioning. So how do you do that with Mavic? So this is like the fun part. Once you've actually added these information to Mavic, you are able to now create very sophisticated and thorough prompts. You can say something like, help me um, create a brand positioning that appeals to, and you can use this add symbol. So this add symbol will trigger the drop down that allows you to then select any saved brand data to the workspace. So I can pick the customer profile I just created. And I can also say, help me create a brand positioning that appeals to this customer profile and is unique from, and then I can select my competitor. So without having to put in a lot of information, Mavic understands the context. It's already done the research on customer profiles. It has already collected the data from competitor, and it's putting in this prompt is actually pulling all that information behind the scenes, and Mavic's AI will start to do that thorough analysis to create the positioning. But it doesn't stop there, because once the positioning is created, like what you can see here, within the same chat, you can also ask Mavic for images and videos. So, for example, I can say, using this brand positioning, give me 3 logo options with the color palette and moodboard. So this is also where the versatility of Mavic comes out in this single chat, because in the chat, with you can create the customer profiles, you can do a competitor analysis, you can create brand positioning through using saved data, but you can also convert all these insights into images, into videos, into blog posts, etc., so that the context stays the same and the images will be generated here. So that's a very quick overview of how you can very quickly come up with use AI to help you with your brand positioning and create things like logos, fonts, colors. Um, just a quick we are at the last 2 minutes of the YouTube live. So as a quick recap, Mavic is an AI brand marketer that automates brand strategy to execution. We believe very much in, once you've identified your brand, to make sure the AI keeps to your brand and optimizes your brand. So the way we do it is to first set up your brand, where you can put in the website, answer questions, we'll create strategy, we start to create content, and we can then schedule onto social media. And on top of that, for enterprise users of Mavic, if you already have a brand set up, we are also able to copy this master brand to what we call local sub brands, so that you're not just keeping one brand on brand, but you're able to translate that into many different markets or many different sub brands. And that's really it. I'm just going to check whether there's any questions on the chat. Okay, so there's a question. Should we treat brands like a person? Well, I think yes, because all of us, we have, whether we like it or not, there's a certain way people remember us. So that's our personal reputation. So, like how you remember brands, you also, um, yeah, people will just, you are your personal brand, basically. All right. If there are no other questions, this replay will stay on YouTube. Thank you so much for spending the last 30 minutes with us. If you want to try out Mavic yourself and go through the process and help you discover what your brand could look like, we are currently running a 50% off any credit bundles with Mavic. So with Mavic, we have the option, you have the option of just buying credits, which will last for a year. You can use it anytime. You get access to our features. If you use the code 50 of magic, you get 50% off any credit bundle. So for 100 credits, it's like less than $20. So thank you again so much for your time. And if you have any comments, please feel free to reach out. My name is Jess. I'm the founder of Mavic, and hope to see you at the next YouTube live. Thank you.